Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today. This committee has an important job. Crafting the congressional budget resolution is a statement of our national priorities, and I appreciate the opportunity to offer my views on what some of those priorities should be. While I recognize that over the long term we must rein in our budget deficit, arbitrarily cutting our federal spending back to fiscal year 2008 levels, which has been proposed, is in my view a meat-axe approach to fiscal discipline. It is also an inadequate response to the domestic and global challenges that we face. This approach fails to recognize something very important about the programs being slashed and what they mean to our local communities. Our local communities are the backbone of our nation. They are where we make our homes, where we raise and educate our children. They are also where small businesses get their start, sometimes on the road to becoming big businesses. In short, our local communities are the bedrock on which our national strength is built. Continuing to adequately fund the programs that mean the most to these communities is vitally important to our long-term success. Today, I'd like to focus on 3 programs that provide critical support to all of our communities. First, Community Development Block Grants, CDBG. Second, Community Service Block Grants, CSBG. And third, Head Start. Programs like these are highly successful because they are community identified and community led. It's not the federal government telling them what to do at every step. Earlier this month, hundreds of county leaders converged in D.C. for their annual National Association of Counties meeting. All of the county council members from my district impressed upon me the importance of these programs because they fulfill important needs of the people they represent. I'm sure your local leaders convey the same message to you. In fact, leaders of this bipartisan group adopted 2 resolutions that support full funding of programs like CDBG and CSBG. Since 1974, the CDBG program has been a lifeline to people from all of the 4 counties in Hawaii. CDBG funds have supported economic development, job creation, and facility needs for the most disadvantaged in Hawaii. It has also given some of them a much-needed hand up when times were tough, a hand they wouldn't have received without the federal funding. For example, CDBG funds help families on the island of Kauai access affordable housing. The lack of affordable housing in a place as expensive as Hawaii is a serious concern for many people on Kauai and indeed throughout the state. More than 1,300 residents are on Kauai Habitat for Humanity's affordable housing waiting list. With CDBG funds, Kauai Habitat for Humanity will complete the final phase of infrastructure improvements and build affordable homes for 125 low to moderate income families. Turning to community service block grants. The Community Action Network, supported by these grants, helps 20 million people in need across the country. One community action program in my county of Maui, called the Maui Economic Opportunity, MEO, receives about $466,000 annually in CSBG funding. This funding helps generate $18 million a year in services to low-income individuals and their families and to small businesses. With CSBG funds, MEO provided a wide variety of services to some 22,000 people in that county, which includes the islands of Lanai, Molokai, and Maui, last year alone. These include comprehensive programs like early childhood services, business development and job programs, transportation for seniors and the disabled, and an array of other services that strengthen the community and provide opportunities to all ages. The third area I asked the committee to support is robust funding for federal programs that help our keiki, a Hawaiian word meaning children, in Hawaii and nationwide. Helping our children thrive is an investment in our future. For children in poverty, achievement gaps begin well before kindergarten. Study after study has shown that investing in quality early learning programs can yield a huge return on investment by reducing the cost of special education, high school dropouts, teen pregnancy, crime, incarceration, and dependence on social services later in life. Quality early learning programs increase the likelihood of college attendance and completion. So, robust support for programs like Head Start makes sense. I recently met with Family Support Services of West Hawaii Family Support Center Family Support Services of West Hawaii. And this program was recently able to open a new Head Start Center in the rural community of Ka'u on the island of Hawaii. A target of our Race to the Top reform efforts, Ka'u remains one of the most economically disadvantaged areas in my state. Head Start not only supports our children, it creates opportunities for others in our communities and for people of all ages. Let me tell you about Regina. Regina enrolled 3 of her children in the Head Start at Maui Economic Opportunity. She started out as an active volunteer of the program, transitioned into a position as a family case manager, continued her education at Maui College, and now works as a disability and mental health specialist. Head Start provided Regina and her family with the educational resources and the vocational skills needed to improve their lives. So you can see there is a tremendous multiplier effect when we support these kinds of community-led, community-identified programs. Without them, low-income families would have even less of a chance to reach the middle class one day. They help our children to grow up safe and healthy and give them a leg up in an increasingly competitive world. I urge the committee to authorize robust funding for programs that have proven to be successful in strengthening our local communities and creating greater opportunities for all of our citizens. And I thank you for this opportunity. That have fire effect. 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 That have that have fire effects 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 that have